Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the NS9 Podcast presented by FanDuel. This is the NS9 Postgame Show powered by Primanti Bros. And with us, we have Doug from Globe Life. Doug, how you doing, buddy?
I drove 17 hours and over 1,200 miles for this. Ay, ay, ay. But
Yes,
yeah,
you did.
it was not a great game. Not a great game, but, it's another stadium. Stadium number 26 on my list now.
All right. Hey, there's that at least. But yeah, the Pirates lose today 5-1 to the Texas Rangers. Doug, it was a game that Carmen Mlodzinski started. He came into this game with a 1.77 ERA. I know there's a lot of debate heading into this year as it was announced he was going to be the fifth starter, if he is a starter or if he should be in the bullpen. And I think so far he's looked, first off, he had the best ERA of all the starters, right? But I think he's looked pretty solid and he's made certainly a case that he belongs in this rotation. Today, he gave up 5 and 4.1.
He was coming off the best start of his career, right? They had an opener last week, one inning of Mason Montgomery, but then he went 6 fantastic innings, career high, and he didn't have it tonight. He just wasn't able to locate his pitches. Again, the debate's going to rage on for a while, right? We're not going to resolve this and just automatically anoint him a starter. Jared Jones is coming, right? Something's going to have to happen when that occurs. So, but Carmen's looked pretty good. He's really good all year, and even today he wasn't as bad. Dotel throws a pitch, smashes it, a smash to Yorke. Yorke fields the ball, and I'm sitting behind third base side. It is stuck in the web. There was nothing he could do. If he's able to field that, Carm gets out with maybe 3 runs given up instead of maybe 4. But whatever.
It would have been
better.
4, but either way, yeah.
So I hate being that guy. I don't want to be the guy that after one bad start, one bad game, 4 bad at-bats, whatever, is ready to write somebody off. He's been very good. He had an off start. This team, Texas, is not a terrible team. They got some really good hitters. Let's see what he does next time. Let's let it play out. He just didn't have it tonight. Paul Skeens didn't have it on day 1. Keller didn't have it 2 starts ago. It happens. It's part of baseball. No one's going to be perfect for 32 starts.
And that's why I kind of want to bring this up, because I think a lot of people can look at this start and say, hey, this is why Carmen Mlodzinski shouldn't belong in the rotation. This is why Carmen Mlodzinski should be in the bullpen. And Doug, I want to say something that's probably going to be unpopular to the listeners and people in the chat right now. I don't look at this game and say that this is why he doesn't belong in the rotation. I look at this game and say, Carmen didn't have it tonight. Like pitchers sometimes just don't have it. You mentioned Paul Skeens the first game. Mitch Keller a few games ago as well. Tonight just seemed like one of those games where, he just didn't have it. Because honestly, Doug, even when he's in the bullpen, he's in the bullpen to be a long reliever. Well, he gave up 2 runs in the second inning. That's not the, Carmen can't get through the third time of the lineup problem. That was, if he was out there for 2 innings, he gave up 2 runs and he has a 9 ERA in this game as well. If he went 2 innings today. Like, he wasn't locating. He threw a lot of pitches. Today, he just didn't have it. I don't think this writes him off as a starter. I don't think this makes any case other than just like today just wasn't his day.
Absolutely. But look, it's the world now. It's society. Instant reaction, instant take, instant, declaration. I'll no more write him off at the start than I will anoint him after his last start when he went 6 spectacular innings, right? And he can't do it start to start. Pitch to pitch is practically what we're doing. Yes, there's always going to be an argument that Carmen Mlodzinski will be more valuable in the bullpen. But if he succeeds in games like he did last time, that's a very good argument to be a starter, right? So let it unfold. Let it play out. Let's see what happens when Jones comes back. Let's see what happens over the next month or so. Give it a chance, to get more information. Not do the small sample size thing. It's certainly one game, right? He's pitched really well this year. He's been a very effective and I don't know who the fifth starter is. I mean, he's third in sort of the rotation, or he's in the starter. Whatever it is, he's been very effective. He came in with a 1.77 ERA. So, and he's looked really good. I'll give him a lot more room before I write him off as a starter. And I'm one of the ones that was against it. Like, I want him in the bullpen. He's so great in the bullpen. But if he can start this well, if he can be as good as the starter, that is a valuable asset.
Right, and that's a good point because I'm with you. I was heading into this year saying I want to see him in the bullpen. Let's try to get someone else. I was really hoping that Urquidy would take the fifth spot. To have Carmen in this, and like Jim mentions here in the chat, which again, like I fully agree with. Like just because he's better in the pen doesn't mean he doesn't belong or shouldn't be in the rotation. Because again, like if you're putting him in the bullpen, which you can make a case for if you want to, who is this team's fifth starter? Who is it? Right. Who is this team's fifth starter right now? It's right. So like again, like they are 4-1 in Carmen Mlodzinski starts right now. Today he just didn't have it, and like you mentioned, like it just kind of is what it is. It's one start in the new revamped year of Carmen Mlodzinski as a starter, and so far we've had good, really quality outings where they've won every game, and then we've had today where he just didn't have it. And again, as I want to point out, he wasn't going to have it if he was a long reliever today. He's giving up 2 runs in this second inning of his long relief.
This wasn't a failing of him as a guy who can't go long enough or deep enough, right? He gave up those runs in the second inning, right? Then he gave up the other runs was that the fourth or fifth, right? I mean, it had nothing to do with seeing a guy for a third time. As we've said several times already, he just didn't have it today. He wasn't sharp. And watch this podcast. I'm not sharp right now. I got all of them are winners. I can't throw a complete game every time. Come on.
Exactly, Doug. Right? Tell these people. I mean, exactly. He was, he was throwing early on. He was throwing the splitter. I'm sorry, the splitter was working early on. He was throwing the sinker a little more. He got away from it, then fed it a little bit more as well. But yeah, like it just seemed like he wasn't doing too much with the sinker today. The splitter looked pretty good, but yeah, I mean they were hitting off him pretty hard, and that's the other thing I want to point out here as well. Average exit velocity, 12 batted events. Average exit velocity against Carmen, 100.3. Doug, what exit velocity?
You know what a believer I am in exit velocity. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, they were squaring him up. They were hitting the ball hard. One more time, he just didn't have it today. So I think that's all it was. I can hardly wait till his next start.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like he was getting hit very hard. They were squaring up. They were seeing him well, and again, it just is what it is. He didn't have it, and so hard, like you mentioned, Tug. They were hitting him so hard that he comes out of the game. Wilbert Otel comes in, and he gets one squared up right to third base. But hey, Nick Yorke's right there. Let's just turn the easy double play. And no outs happened. Doug, why did 0 outs happen on that play?
Oh, man, that ball was stuck in the web of his glove. And I mean, it was stuck. It took him several attempts to get it out. I mean, after the play was over and it was a hit and all that sort of thing. I mean, he was pushing and prodding and poking and shaking the glove. There was nothing he could do. He made the play, was ready to turn the double play, and just could not get the ball was just wet. It was like glued in there. It was something. I haven't seen that too often. And again, just bad luck, right? Otel comes in, does exactly what he's supposed to do. He's going to get you out of this inning. He's going to look like, he's the cure for our middle relief problems. And nope, sorry, we get 2 more runs scored,
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, what a turn of events, too, because that does also come the inning before, and we'll talk more about the offseason in general. But, like, tonight was just one of those nights, like, it just wasn't working for the Pirates' favor. Again, Mlodzinski got hit pretty hard. I mean, the Pirates came out early and scored, but also there was 2 guys on. Oneil Cruz is up to bat, and again, this is right before that play where Nick Yorke could have turned 2 and, limited the damage in that inning for Carmen and Wilbur as well. But Oneil Cruz is up right before that. He hits a monster to the wall, not quite over the wall. He gets robbed. Could have been a 3-run home run to give the Pirates a lead at this point in time. Also, because he could have gave the lead. If that ball doesn't get caught in Yorke's glove. Like this
Right.
almost turns into a W today as well. Just
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a Pittsburgh Piratey thing.
Very,
out of
very
us.
Pittsburgh Piratey game of inches kind of thing. I mean, Cruz crushed that ball. I don't know what the exit velocity was. I'm sure somebody there will tell me.
It was I could pull it up. I just had it. It was 110.6.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great catch. It was a great catch. Watching that guy, I didn't think he was going to be able to get to it. He hit it to about the deepest part of the park. It was right at the 410 sign. Just close but no cigar. Just one of those days. I mean, it was like that was going to right. You said that was going to give the Pirates a 3-2 lead. But good vibes, all that good stuff. The cone has been banned from the Globe Life Field.
Is that breaking news?
Yeah. Well, a lady, one of the ushers came up to me and, she's like, "Oh, you're a Pirate fan, blah, blah, blah." She goes, "Tell me, what's up with the cone?" And I tell her the story of the cone. She goes, "Yeah, we were told not to let them in today." The cones
I saw a
have
few,
been banned. Yeah. So, and people know. The Rangers know the power of the cone. I don't think we could have enough cones in here. And I feel like security's coming to take me out of here. But, that was, Oneil Cruz was having a pretty decent day, right? If that goes over the fence, he's having a great day. He's already had a hit, a stolen base and a run scored. And it was unfortunate that didn't go over, but it was a great catch. I stood up and cheered. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a really impressive catch. You had to tip your cap. And it was just game had very 2025 vibes, right? We scored one run in the first inning, and that was it, right? And we got one run from the first two batters, and then the next three guys are just 1, 2, 3 down. And didn't really muster much after that the rest of the game. Not a lot of offense to discuss today for a team that's been scoring pretty well.
Right.
And
But like I said, like I just
one of
wanted
those
to go
days.
back to that because it wasn't the starting pitcher's night. It wasn't the pitcher's night in general. But two plays like this whole game could have been different and turned around. Cruz is inches away from getting a 3-run shot to give the Pirates a lead. And again, just the weirdest, funkiest thing. Nick Yorke gets a ball stuck in his webbing, can't make a double play and run score on that. Like this was just a weird night.
It was weird
where you just chalk it up, throw it out, move on. You can't win everything. This one sucked, but yes, it did start out positive. Let's go back to Oneil Cruz. Go back to the offense that started out pretty good. Not much happened after that. Oneil Cruz gets a leadoff hit, gets on first base, immediately steals second. There's a throwing error to throw him out. He ends up on third, and then Ryan O'Hearn gets a hit and scores Oneil Cruz. So first two batters, 2 hits. Oneil Cruz, I keep dubbing the catalyst, right? This is the reasons why I do like Oneil Cruz in the leadoff role. He gets on base, he makes things happen, ends up on third, and then he scores right away to 1-0 ball game. However,
it's great.
Offense after those 2 hitters was pretty limited.
Yeah. I play the MLB Beat the Streak, and those were my 2 hitters I chose today. And so I extended my streak, 2 minutes into the game. It was awesome.
There you go.
No, but it's, Cruz and O'Hearn both, they're doing exactly what we want. I'm very excited about Cruz stealing all these bases. As I did bet a hefty $10 on him to win the stolen base crown this year. It will pay $250, which I think I'll retire on. And I feel like feeling good about that bet. So that was the only futures bet I played this year. It was again last year. Remember how we'd only score in 1 inning, and this had a very 2025 vibes. A lot of weird, like I said, weird stuff out there. This is one of those as Clint Hurdle used to say, shower well, and come back tomorrow. Tomorrow, Braxton Ashcraft, he's been very effective this year. So, and that's the great thing about this team this year. You're excited and believe in every guy that's next. It's not like, oh no, it's it's this guy who we never win when he pitches. We can't win when he pitches, that sort of thing. We don't stand a chance. No, we stand a chance. Every one of these pitchers is going to keep us in games. We're not going to have long losing streaks. The offense is good enough. And I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Yeah, so again, like the first inning comes up and it's looking pretty positive. Again, those are the 2 hits right off the bat, and then that was pretty much it. After that, I mean, what 4 more hits in total? Nick Gonzalez had 2 hits on the day. Jake Mangum had 2 hits on the day, but that was it. No one could do anything after that. We didn't even have we had 1 walk. We had Brian Reynolds had a walk today as well.
Right.
9 strikeouts. They couldn't string anything together. That was one thing that we have talked about all year. It's, when one guy isn't hot or one guy's not producing, other guys step up and such. And today was probably one of the first times in a long time we just seen the offense as a whole just all look, really cold. Right. I mean, I guess like Gonzalez and Mangum did have 2 hits apiece, but no one could do anything to, bring those guys in as well.
Yeah. And we were missing Lau and Horwitz today. Right. Mm-hmm. Those are 2 good hitters. Now that, like I said, a couple other guys stepped up a little, but those guys could have come in handy. Right. If Lau's batting second, batting in that first inning, who knows what happened? I mean, again, you just don't know. So you chalk it off, and they're going to want me to get out of here soon.
Why?
I don't know. That you saw that. Well, I don't know if you saw. He came over and checked my credentials. Anyway. Not much to talk about on the offensive end. Then come back. Let's get him tomorrow. We can still take the series.
Is it just me, or are we losing Doug as well? We might need to chat.
I'm here.
You sound like to me. It sounds like you're underwater.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Maybe it's just me. If the chat can tell us.
I don't know.
But
I sound perfect to me.
Anyways, damn, maybe it is just me.
And that brings another problem.
Anyways, yeah. So again, the offense didn't do a whole lot today. Let's talk a little bit about Wilber Dotel. He did come in. His debut was the other day. This is his second time in the majors, second time pitching. Again, we talked about the glove that happened. The pitch he got. He could have been out of the inning, but he goes today a 1.2. Has had that 1 hit. 3 walks, no strikeouts. So, again, he kind of picked up where Carmen left off. He just was not looking sharp at all today. Now, obviously, damage was limited in this 1.2. Yes, he gave up the 1 run that's tagged to Carmen Mlodzinski as well, though. But, yeah, I mean, Wilber Dotel, this bullpen needs help. He was called up, the next man up. There's some intriguing stuff from him, but today he certainly didn't have it.
Well, again, how different that outing could have been had he got that double play, right? I mean, he made the right pitch. And if he gets out on that double play, who knows? Who knows what happens? But that he's young. It's like, man, he's probably a little frustrated that the play doesn't get turned behind him. It's nobody's fault, anything like that. But yeah, had he gets that play, he runs back the inning. He comes out of that next inning feeling really good. Maybe he lets it rip. So yeah, and he's a little wild. It's something that you have to work on at this level, and hopefully he'll get better.
Right. Justin Lawrence comes in. He looked a little bit better today. I mean, he threw 1 scoreless, 2 strikeouts. The one technically hit the guy. He just ended up swinging. I guess you could say he was kind of effectively wild today. But this is what does make Justin kind of nasty. I mean, he literally had a guy swing on a pitch that hit him. So I feel like if he could just trust his stuff a little bit more, even that one was a little egregious. Get that one a little closer to the strike zone as well. People are not going to hit that sweeper of yours, but it was a better appearance by him today.
Yeah, that was nice to see. It was low stakes at the time. They're down 5-1. Just come in and pitch, and he was pretty effective. Like you said, that the one guy he hit was swinging, for crying out loud. So he's pretty nasty. If he can harness it, he's a great asset to this bullpen, and we really need him to be. He's one of the guys that I'd mark, in the offseason, this guy's going to be lights out for us. He's going to be pitching in the 8th and 9th inning when needed, and he's going to be a weapon in the 7th inning, that sort of thing. And it hasn't worked out that way so far, but I still believe in him. I still believe he can get it back, and today was a nice first step toward that.
I agree. What were your thoughts on Evan Sisk? I mean, again, I know low pressure, right? The game's pretty much over, but also had a solid inning.
Yeah, it was fine. You know what I'm saying? It's he's an odd pitcher to me. I still quite haven't really form much of an opinion on him. He seems kind of innocuous, but I mean, got out of it today, did his job.
Right. Yeah. So again, offense wasn't there. Pitching was meh. Right. But again, like I kind of do want to talk about Oneil Cruz. We talked about, the hit he did have, the almost home run, the stolen base, the catalyst. Doug, he also had a pretty solid play in the outfield today. Like I think we've been seeing him play better. It's not been like super flashy, but he has been making the plays needed. Right. That's something that has escaped him sometimes.
Right.
But there was a moment today. Now, obviously, it was a race. It didn't really matter because hits kept coming and that scored guys. But he eliminated a run by, cutting off, getting to a ball quick enough, getting that ball rifled in, to Connor Griffin to prevent a guy from rounding third to score. If he doesn't cut off that ball, if he doesn't get there quick enough to make that play, there's a run that scored on Carmen. Again, it happened because more hits happened afterwards. But Oneil had a good game, I thought. And again, defensively, like he had a good defensive play or defensive game today. But I feel like that's something that he has been doing a little bit more of. I mean, what was your take on him seeing him?
I mean, what our biggest frustration with Oneil Cruz has been mental lapses, right? That's really what it's been. It's that he's not seemed engaged. He doesn't run it out to first base, or a ball gets behind him and he doesn't charge after it. Even though there's someone there backing him up, that sort of thing. And we haven't seen any of that since the first, the bottom of the first in New York. He's making the basic plays. For the most part, seems to be throwing to the right base. I still remember that where he kind of cut in front of Jake Mangum and picked it up and made that perfect throw that Connor Griffin then threw in for the relay, and great throw, getting the guy out at home, that sort of thing. He looks pretty good. I mean, he's making the plays like at both shortstop and center field, we've been frustrated that he just hasn't made the simple, basic, fundamental play. And he's been doing that for most of this season now. He seems engaged. He seems focused. And that's always been the legitimate concern about him. I've never thought he was lazy like a lot of people like to do. It's encouraging. Now, remember last year up until about May 10th or so, or May 20th, he was also all of these things. Again, our tailgate last year was the third week of May, and he had his 10th home run in that series,
Right.
So, we'll see. Well, no declarations or proclamations, at least until sometime in June or July. But so far, so good. And what else can we ask for? There's, he's making the plays. He's producing. He's a big part of why we are where we are in the standings and record-wise and run producing.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, this game, there's not a whole lot to really talk about. Not much really happened. It wasn't good performances. But again, I do want to kind of highlight Oneil Cruz because, again, what he did do. And also here, like he did have one strikeout. It was against the lefty. It was an 8-pitch at bat. He fouled off 3. Again, it's a strikeout, right? I mean, you don't want to see strikeouts, but he has been facing lefties better. It was late in the game. A lefty came up to face him, and I thought it was a really good at bat still.
Right.
So again, like to your point,
much different.
Oneil
much
has
different than what he's done in the past.
Focused. Oneil has looked every bit of, as I dubbed, like the catalyst. He's hitting for decent average right now. He's getting on base. He's stealing bases. He's hitting for power. Right. He has his 10th stolen base on the year, as you mentioned. That's you bet him on leading. He is leading right now. He's tied with Jose Ramirez for the most in baseball. He has 6 home runs, almost had his 7th tonight. We see him doing a lot of things offensively. You see him doing good things on the base pass. You're now seeing him do a lot better defensively. He's not going to win a Gold Glove out there. It's not going to happen. But he's progressively getting better, and he just seems like he's in the game more often than others.
Right. He's not a liability out there right now, right? And that was a huge concern. He's contributing in all facets of the game. That, like I said, that was an 8-pitch strikeout. That happens, but again, it was a good at bat. Last year it was 1, 2, 3 a lot of times. He was a 3-pitch outcome kind of guy a lot, especially from from whenever Shelty got mercifully let go. And
also like it was 3 pitches where he goes up there and doesn't swing at them.
Yeah,
he just watched them go by.
Right, looking on third strikes a lot. I mean, just seemed like he didn't want to be there, and that's not the case this year. So it's very encouraging. Again, it's still April, but I sometimes often think that we shouldn't do any post games till June 1st. So
Sorry,
it's like
Primantis.
yeah,
sorry, people. No sandwiches till June 1st.
No,
Doug, I
June
thought you were a man
1st.
of the people.
I am a man of the people, but I feel like such a dope. I don't like this. 3 games in saying this guy's a bust, and I don't do that.
He's a bust.
No, I don't do that. But I'm responding to it often in the chat. Get this guy out of here. He shouldn't be on my softball team. So,
Right.
and at the same token, I don't want to come out and anoint anybody as the second coming of Dave Parker.
There you go. Yeah. So other than that, I really don't have too much to talk about with this game. I don't know. Again, you were there. First off, also, this was the series where Kutch comes back. He didn't get in. They're facing all righties. I doubt he's ever going to start. So far, no Kutch. But did you see him pregame at all?
I didn't even see him. It seems like he was keeping low profile. Of course, I was, searching for Brandon Lau. But that mystery was solved. So after that, I just kind of sat back and tried to enjoy the game. But I didn't see Kutch standing up on the railing, anything. I was looking for him. There was quite a few Kutch jerseys here, Kutch Pirates jerseys. But there was some good amount of Pirates fans in attendance.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Well, like you mentioned, tomorrow it's Ashcraft going against Leiter. That's also, I think, what's intriguing about this series. Obviously, Kutch is on the other end, but then they just faced Kumar Rocker, who stifled their offense. Kumar Rocker, we all tank for Rocker. We remember those hashtags, right?
Much like 2025, Kumar Rocker had his longest start of the year against the Pirates tonight.
Boom.
He had never gotten 15 outs in a game this year, and guess what? The Pirates have, let you get 6.
Doug's he's ready for those stats. He's ready for the Pirates for the first 2 stats. So there it is. But yeah, Kumar Rocker was going to be a Pittsburgh Pirate. We all know Leiter was going to be a Pittsburgh Pirate. So again, we see Kutch is on the other end. On the other end too is 2 guys they're facing that were, just going to be Pittsburgh Pirates. They were going to draft them. So here they are, both being Texas Rangers. And
how sad that we ended up with Paul Skeens.
Thank you.
But that workout. Thank you, baseball gods. Thank you, baseball gods.
Yes. So right now on FanDuel, the Pirates of both teams actually are both minus 108 money line. So yeah, there's that. But again, it is Ashcraft versus Leiter. And yes, Ashcraft, I know he didn't have the best start his last time out. Obviously that was also partly on the team behind him, but he's looked every bit. Like you said, you're confident in every pitcher going out there to face whoever, and Ashcraft has been one of the better ones in baseball, not alone just Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, he's already got a 1-4. I mean,
right.
What 3-4 starts in? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's tomorrow's matchup. You'll be at the game again, I believe.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm planning on it. We'll see. Some really bad weather here, and my son and daughter-in-law, are joining me here. So, but I'm expecting to be there. We'll see how it goes. All
right. Well, before they kick you out, try to for the 3rd time. Let's get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow for the post-game show. Hopefully with a dub. Other than that, I guess, go ahead, subscribe, follow along. We'll see you guys later. Doug?
Okay, can I quickly say that thank you so much for all of you who came to the tailgate. I had so much fun. It was a blast. The game wasn't great. The weather wasn't great. But you guys made it a wonderful, very memorable experience, and I can hardly wait to the June 13th one.
Boom, boom. Yeah, and actually, again, that's a good time. Yeah, June 13th, we're running it back. So they're going to face the Marlins. Come out. If you didn't come out the first time, make sure you're coming out for the second time. If you did come out for the first time, why not come out again? So
tailgate versus the state of Florida. Tailgate hates the state of Florida, so let's go.
There it is. Boom. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.